I'm an addict named Eddie.
Let's go.
Are you nervous?
No, I think I'm just going to cry, man. I've been getting asked that all day. Are you nervous? No, I'm fucking pumped up. Like, this is an honor, man, and this place, when I was in treatment, both times, you know, like, the first time I really, like, started to realize that maybe I wanted to change my life a little bit, and I was in treatment at the Cat House, and they kept talking about Ripley. I'm like, like, believe it or not, you know, like, what are you guys talking about, you know? Like this Ripley fucking place, right? And, you know, like, now I know, right? So, you know, just starting at the beginning, man, like, born and raised in Price Hill, Cincinnati. Shout out Price Hill. Where's my Grand Avenue folks at? I had to get the fuck out of there, man. So, you know, like, life was normal, man, when I was just, you know, just a kid. Like, my parents weren't, you know, bad. They're still together. They still support me. They still love me. But, like, my cousins and, like, the fringes of my family, man, like, red card players, like, you know, just beating somebody with a baseball bat was just, like, something we did on Tuesday. Not that that's cool, you know what I mean? But, like, that's what it was when I wasn't at home. So, you know, like, the violence and all of that stuff was, you know, like, I seen it early. And, you know, like, understanding what I understand after working some steps and being able to identify, you know, like, what was going on when I was 6, 7 years old. You know, I was an addict. I was well on my way. I wasn't comfortable in my skin. So, like, stealing and, like, all of that stuff was just, like, just there. You know what I mean? If I was taking something from somebody else or, like, fighting somebody else, like, I didn't have to think about me. And it was like an outlet for anger, right? Anybody got anger issues? Road rage? I don't know nothing about road rage. Unless you rode with me, then you know I'm lying. But yeah, so, you know, like, sports and everything was there. My parents had me involved in sports, which was, you know, again, looking back at what that was for me, it was a higher power, right? The higher power of the group. When I was with the team, or I was at practice, or I was at the game, or, you know, like, whatever, like the meetings, or, you know, whatever, I wasn't alone. I wasn't thinking about my shit, right? I wasn't stuck in self. And, you know, as soon as all that was over and I got back home, it was right back to me being me alone in the basement, you know, and I was miserable again. You know, so, like, everything just kind of, like, you know, took off from there, and then I got introduced to, you know, some things and, you know, high school stuff, and, you know, we were drinking and, you know, like that stuff. And, like, before you know, I was like 19 years old, just, like, gone, you know, and didn't really know what happened. I watched all the people that I grew up with, that I went to grade school with in junior high, in high school, and played ball with and everything. Like, I watched these dudes, they're like plumbers and like electricians, and I'm like downtown, you know, like, I just, I mean, this is where I was, you know what I mean? I was just like, how did I end up here? And, like, you know, like that, you know, that feeling at 6 o'clock in the morning when the birds start chirping and you see everybody going to work and you're the only one walking the other way. You know, that was me, man. That was me for many years, you know, a couple decades. You know, I don't want to share about the mess, man, but I got to let you know, man, like, I was fucked up. Thank God for step work. Thank God for a non-judgmental sponsor. You know what I mean? Like, thank God for Narcotics Anonymous. You know, like, you guys made, like, all of this stuff that I'm going to talk about possible, man. And I don't know how I'm not going to cry. Right. I will. Trust the process. So, you know, like I said, like 1920, all of that stuff, like, it was off the chain, late 90s. And then, you know, like, kids came into the picture, like broken relationships, like I didn't know how to not beat women, right? Because everything was their fault, right? I was the victim. It was their fault that I was hurting. It was their fault when I just really wouldn't look at myself, you know? I mean, terrible, just like terrible person, man. You know, like my parents didn't want me around. I wasn't allowed on their street. You know, they're like, you're like literally like a threat to our safety. You know, like if I come out on the porch and give you this $20 you've been begging me for 14 days, I might get shot. So thank God it's not like that anymore. So yeah, there's all that stuff. The first time I really went to treatment was I went to River City in 2004 to avoid my first prison number, which really is exactly what it was. I just avoided my first number for like 90 days. And then there was a period between 2004 and 2013-14 where I just wasn't on the street, right? For little bits at a time, 90 days, 6 months. And then I was cuffed up and I was on my way back to prison, and I'm just like, why can't I stay free? Like, what's wrong with me? You know what I mean? Like, so thank God for my first counselor when I went to CAT. The first time I went to CAT, I'm just going to go ahead and like get right into that stuff. Like, you guys understand all that, So we're sitting there and I'm telling him everything, kind of like everything I just said. And so he asked me about a higher power and a relationship with a higher power. And I was like, yeah, man, he just kept throwing me in jail. And, like, I really don't like fuck with this dude. I don't got nothing for that guy. Like, why would I want to build this relationship, man? This dude just wants me in the joint. So he sits back and he shakes his head, and a lot of people in this room know who I'm talking about. This guy. And he just kind of sits back and he laughs at me and he just shakes his head. He was like, so like God was breaking in everybody's house. God was in a marriage stop with a pistol, wasn't he? You know what I mean? And I was like, no, I mean, not really. Like, it could have been me, And come to find out it was, Like I was so deluded mentally, man, that like I couldn't grasp the reality, like what I was doing, right? The second step talks about being restored to sanity, right? Well, I had to understand that I was fucking insane in the first place to get restored. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't understand. I thought that was normal. Like I said, my cousins and guys, them dudes would be in jail everywhere. I'm like, I'm only going to jail here. Like, I'm not as bad as them, right? And just like when I got in here, I would separate myself because I never use needles, right? I don't snort dope. I'm not good at it, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a little better than everybody here, so like I don't need you guys because you use different than me. Again, my counselor was like, them crimes, man, like they're real and they're from drugs no matter how you use them. And I'm just like, this fucking dude, man, he keeps making sense. And he kept telling me, like, you get you a sponsor, H&I comes in here, both fellowships, 7 days a week, get connected, right? I'm like, I'm going to get a little connected because I was still going to do it my way, right? Because, like 9 days clean, understanding it really wasn't God's fault. Like, I had it figured out. Now I'm like, I got a foot up on this shit. Like, I'm going to just do Eddie's Anonymous. And it lasted for 56 days. And I was running the streets again, crazy, getting into fights at Bengals games on my way back to the penitentiary. And then, and I thought the cat house was mad at me. Right? And I'm like, hey, I got to come back. And they're like, okay, good. Because we miss you. And I'm like, well, you guys miss me? Like, I told you I was important. They miss me, like they need me down there, man. I had cigarettes and shit when I was there. Of course they need me, I was like eating Skittles and shit. Like, I had change, you know what I mean? Like, it was thank you. It was pretty cool. So I did. I went back and I walked back in there. My clean date, 9/28/15. And there's no proof of God, right? You know what I mean? So I walked in there. I didn't use that morning, but what I need to remember, man, and what I need to share, and what I share with sponsees and just anybody when I talk to them, man, like I have to remember 9/27/15, right? That shit was rough, man. I often talk about like actually using to stay well throughout a day. The process of doing the dope didn't take that long. Right? This shit was down to a science. You know what I mean? Like, I'm out of here. Okay, like I'm good for like 2 hours. Who's next? Who's getting robbed? You know what I mean? So that means for like 23 hours a day, I was chasing, and I was just fucking entrenched in obsession. You know what I mean? Like when you're entrenched in something, you can't get out of it. I was fucking entrenched in obsession. I didn't know how to stop using drugs. I didn't know how to live. I didn't have a new way of life, right? Our message, right? We come here and we find a new way to live. Thank God. So I wasn't even sure, man. I had my chair in the shower. It was mine, and that's where I would take the hot shower at first, and I had to make it cold, and then I just would like sit in there, man, because like I wasn't doing well physically. Anybody ever been there? I wasn't doing too well physically. I'd see the guys coming down from upstairs, man. They're like running up and down the steps, and I'm like, these dudes are badass. This dude just jumped down like 3 steps, like that would have folded me. You know what I mean? But I was so tough out there, right? So tough, like get folded by 3 steps, man. Try to fight everybody, but the illusion, right? We talk about shattering the illusion. The illusion that I was this person, man, that I wasn't, that I now know who I am. Like that's the hit, man. If you're new, please stay. Find out who you are, because I promise. It's not what you tell yourself when you're alone.
Yeah, that's right.
So about 7 days in, I wasn't sure if I was going to stay, and I was thinking about fighting this guy. Anybody that's heard my story's heard this before. I was thinking about fighting this guy, and like I'm sitting at the table, and I got my back to the wall. So I guess I've done a lot of time. So like I got to see. I'm glad back. I can see everybody. I got my eye on Cooper. He called me on the phone. But that's how I was sitting in that setting, man. And I remember it so perfect. And there was like 5 or 6 guys there, and we're sitting there, and we're like the cool kids in treatment. Like half of them are dead now. All that stuff. And I was like, yeah. He looks at me one more time, and I'm just gonna go on over there, man. And dude was like, for what? Dude's probably going to beat you back over here. And I was like, I'm going to give it hell. And this dude said something, and he is actually not with us anymore. But he said, if you want to leave, why don't you just leave? Why are you going to take that dude with you? I was like, what's wrong? What's up with all these people around here like making sense? And what I can look back now and start to realize is that, like, we talk about honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness, right? There was like this much open-mindedness that I was like, you're right. And I don't really have the balls to leave because I don't think I got anywhere to go. And if I don't complete this shit, sober living won't take me. And when you walk out of the front door of the Cat House and you look over a little bit, there's downtown. And right on the other side of downtown is all the bridges right have been. I was like, yeah, this might, it's a little, it's October. Probably stay here tonight and go on and get my snack, you know what I mean? Seriously, man, them apples hit at like 9 o'clock at night. So another thing that everybody kept saying was like, just wait till N.A. gets here, man, and like talk to them guys. H&I's coming. They'll be here at 7 o'clock. Talk to them guys. And this right here, man, this is, one of the guys is back, one of the guys is no longer here. And there's people in this room that did H&I down there that like, thank you, right? Again, like I could cry because of that shit, which is why I like to do H&I, because I know what it did for me. But they came in, and of course, they're like, have you prayed about it? And I'm like, man, like, why does everybody keep telling me to pray, right? And I did pray, and I never got OR when I did, and like I would just sit there, you know, and then I'd pray, like, you know, like, she's not going to fuck everybody. She's really going to put 50 on my books. Like, let me get a couple Snickers, dude. And, you know, I got to fight this guy. You know, those prayers were never answered, right? So I'm like, now I got to pray for some unanswered shit. You know, here we go again. More victim, you know, woe, like, poor me. Like, why won't everybody just do everything for me so I don't have to do nothing? And, like, I could just do drugs, you know. That ain't how it fucking works. So go upstairs and pray. Go in your room when you're, after this meeting, when you're done and you go upstairs, go pray. That little bit of open-mindedness, man, right? It turned into a little bit of willingness, right? And when I got upstairs and I got in my room and my bunky's laying there reading this book, and I want to just kick his little ass. I'm like, do something, you know, like anything. But I sat on the edge of the bed, man, and then like this little bit of honesty came in. Like, dear higher power person, like that I still don't know who I pray to, and it don't even fucking matter. My higher power can have a flat bill and Jordans. Right? It doesn't even matter. As long as I believe in him and he's bigger than me and loves me. That's it. That's all I need. So, dear higher power, I don't want to use no more. I don't want to die. And like, I know I have some kind of purpose, right? And I lost it, man. I cried, and dude sits up, and like I said, he's already on my nerves. This dude don't do shit. Like, he won't even go to the meetings for the coffee and shit. I'm like, dude, just don't even talk to me. You don't even give me no coffee. But I started crying, man. And like he sat up and he sets his little book down, whatever he's reading. And he's like, hey, Bunk, you know you all right? And I was like, I just looked at him, man, like full cry, like ugly cry. Like, dude, we never have to get high again. And he was like, I'm fucking going to bed, man. He lays back. But I'm telling you, right then and there, man, like that little bit of honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness changed the fucking game, man. 9+ years later, that shit has me standing here. So, like, you know, recovery is freaking beautiful, man. I've never done 90 and 90. I've never suggested anybody do 90 and 90 because I'm not going to ask you to do something that I never did. But do 90 and 90 if you do. Do it. That shit works, you know. Don't listen to me, though. But, you know, so like, some of the things they told me to do leaving treatment. Oh, hold on. Let me back up because I'm getting ready to leave and I'm not quite gone yet. I want to leave, right? My out date is for a Tuesday. Pretty much this time of year. And yeah, I said my out date. I heard that. But the only thing I ever completed before this was a prison number. You know what I mean? So like, it was my out date. But it was on a Tuesday, and I go into my counselor's office on a Friday, and I'm like, hey man, can I leave? These counselors, why do they always want to lean back when they talk to you and shit and get all cool? Assess this situation, you know what I mean? I just want to leave, dude. Like, I got a wedding tomorrow. Like, I'm trying to get some ass, you know, like, I need to get out of here. He was like, you can go to the wedding, you can go out Sunday. I need you here Tuesday morning. Right? I'm like, okay, why do you need me here Tuesday morning? Right? He said, the people in the group look up to you. Do it for them. They need to see you graduate. They need to see you with the certificate. They need to see you do that. If I let you go, what's going to happen? You know how it goes. We're addicts. Oh, well, you got to go. Right. This room's going to be empty tomorrow. Right. You know what I mean? So he wrote me the pass for the wedding and the thing, and I went and did the stuff. And, I don't know if I got any booty Sunday night. I might have. But I stayed until Tuesday. So now I can go to this is, when they told me to leave, like I had a sponsor, right? Before I walked out of that place, I had a sponsor that I saw every week because he did H&I. So I saw him every week. I went that day to a meeting, made it my home group. That day, right? About 6 months later, I had the keys to that meeting. I had the keys to that meeting for 7 years. Right? It was that simple, man. Get involved. Right? Make a commitment and stick to it. Right? Because I struggle with commitment. Not so much these days, but in my life, like I said, the only thing I ever completed was the penitentiary, and that's because I had to. They wouldn't let me leave earlier. I would. Get out of here, you know what I mean? Like, you can have all these snacks. And it's funny because I can laugh about it now and I can joke about it, man, but that shit sucked. That shit sucked, right? And I want to be like, I never stole nothing from my parents. I never took anything from their house, blah, blah, blah. And, what I realize now is I stole a lot, right? I was a thief of time. I was in the penitentiary. My parents were stressed the fuck out about what's going on with my dumb ass. They're just trying to live their normal life and go to work and stuff. And I need money and I need this. Hey, can you meet this dude's girl over here? Yeah, they're going to get, all of that shit we do, man. And my parents in the middle of fucking running dope in the penitentiary. Like crazy shit, man. Today, they're on my phone plan and I pay for their cable and, their car insurance and all of that stuff is through our agent and you know what I mean? Like living amends, right? I stressed you guys out for so long. It is my duty now to make your life stress-free, right? And I do it to the best of my ability. That's what recovery has afforded me. I've been on relationships a lot lately, and I knew I was going to talk about this, and this is where it's going to get real. This is where I probably ain't going to make it through. So I had a few years clean, and probably 2 or 3, and I started reaching out, and he started kind of reaching back. We had to communicate through Snapchat with my son because his mom didn't want us talking, right? She's even kind of came around a little bit. She was crazy. She's kind of almost being nice 9 years later. But I started building this relationship with my son, right, with little Ed. And it was slow. And it was, is this worth it? And why am I still doing this, man? Why can't this shit happen now? God damn it, I fucking deserve it. Look at what I'm doing and blah, blah, blah. Again, more of that me shit. It ain't about me, right? It's about the harm I caused and the damage I did to these relationships. That shit happens on their time, man. As my kids have became ready to come back into my life, guess what? They have. Right? The relationship with Ed, he's in Alaska. He's in the Army. He's a soldier, shooting stuff and, you know what I mean? Riding around in tanks and helicopters and, snowboarding and, all this, he's, getting to see the country for free, man. Getting paid for it and, getting all this life experience. And he calls me for guidance, right? I have a son that I didn't know that I was talking about this with some people before the meeting, and I didn't find out he was mine until he was 7. And there was multiple people tested before me, and basically my 2 oldest were 60 days apart. And when I walked into that room, I was like, oh, he's mine. You don't even got to swab me. I'll just see you in court, right? 'Cause that's next, right? Back in court, But court don't scare me today, right? I can go to court. I can go talk about the kids. I can go do any of that stuff, man. Everything that I ran from and was so fearful of and never thought was for me. It's all for me, right? staying in position, man, is something I always talk about. And like, it's like the most important thing, man. Like, if I don't wait for it and I don't stay and I don't keep doing what I need to do, I'm not going to get what's coming, right? This stuff don't happen on my time. I'll screw it all up, right? First thing I did when I left treatment was quit my job. I didn't know what to do with money. I'm scared to death to get a paycheck. I leaned on the fellowship, man. Like I said, at the home group, I got involved, man. And working steps. I was 40 years old, 42. I'm getting lying again. That's crazy because I was 42 when all this happened, and I'm like 21 now with 9 years clean. My math is fucked up. But I was like 42 years old, and I took a job at Skyline Chili with members of my home group, right? Because what I wanted to do was go landscaping. What I wanted to do was go cut grass. And it wasn't possible, right? You're not getting in no truck and making it to noon. Something's getting broke out, you know what I mean? So I went and worked at Skyline Chili, man. I was 42 years old, washing dishes at Skyline Chili. And, man, that was rough. Because it's like, the ego, man. Like, dude, you're the biggest piece of shit on earth, right? Like, your life has to suck right now. How many more 3 ways are you going to wipe off a plate today? And what it really did, man, was like perspective, right? I sat in that dish tank, and I sat back there. I was by myself, and I had my earbuds in, and I was listening to speakers. I was doing recovery back there. I cared at first, but it got to a point where, instead of going to work and everybody else is 20. And they're like, oh, this old ass dude. They're like, man, hey, how you doing? Like, man, dude, you're pretty good back here, man. We appreciate you. And I'm like, what? I was good, right? It's something. It'd been a long time since somebody told me I was good at something, even though it was washing dishes, right? Because we got to stay in position, right? I got to have something to build on. Building from there, right? I got almost a year clean. I started working in a treatment center. Worked in treatment centers for a couple of years. Kind of found out that wasn't my gig, right? It wasn't for me, which is cool, Some of my own personal shit, you know what I mean? I wasn't meshing. These people were trying to tell me what to do, and I'm trying to tell them what to do, and they're doctors. I was eating out of the dumpster 4 years ago, But they asked me what I thought, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I think you guys are all fucked up. That's what I think. Well, I don't understand how he's dirty and this and that. I'm like, I do. Yeah, your piece of paper don't really mean much, man. I can tell you exactly how they're fucking dirty because, they're not taking what whatever. That's an outside issue. I apologize. But, like I said, that just wasn't for me. So we can talk about that after we. So I started praying, right? Because now I pray and I get answers when it's time for me to get them. So I start praying and I'm still doing it, because I have bills now, you know what I mean? I had a driver's license, insurance and shit, all this shit I never thought I'd ever have in my life, I got on good terms with child support finally, started giving them some money, so they let me get my license and shit. And I kept working there, and it was January I start praying. I'm like, hey, show me a sign, man, because this ain't working. I'm coming home from work, I'm depressed. My meeting attendance is starting to slip. I mean, I'm spiritually busted, 4 years clean. And February goes by, and I'm, hey, man, remember me? The cat house dude, that whole thing, right? It was going good for a while, you know what I mean? Where'd you go, bro? March, April, and I'm all right, this is crazy now. So now, every good relationship goes through every emotion, right? And if it don't, who's people pleasing? So I'm like, hey man, it's me again. It's been like 4 months. I'm still looking for this, sign and everything. Praying, look for the signs. I'm praying and looking for the signs, and there just ain't been none. It just wasn't time, right? May, sitting there. I had a cookout, had some friends over, guys that are in the room tonight. These dudes like running businesses and, stuff. They're like, why ain't you doing this and that? And I'm like, oh no, man, really, I was scared. You know what I mean? So after that conversation, I kind of started talking to my wife about it, and, I'm praying and I'm praying and I'm praying. And where we live, man, they only cut the grass on Tuesdays. Only on Tuesdays. And I don't know why. It was a Saturday morning, and I'm outside praying, and I'm yelling at God because he ain't showing me this sign of what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. And here comes the dude on the corner on a mower, cutting the grass. I'm like, ain't that some shit? I'm supposed to be cutting grass. You know what I mean? And I looked up and I'm like, am I supposed to be cutting fucking grass? They all told me a few days ago, last weekend, I'm supposed to, really go after what I want to go after. And I'm like, damn, I'm supposed to be fucking oh my God. So I talked to her, and she's like, remember what you said on our first date? And I was like, fuck no. I have no idea what I said on our first date. The fact that I said I was clean was one lie. So, she was like, well, if you could do anything as far as a career, what would it be? And I said, I'd have a little small lawn care company, right? Guess what? We got a small little lawn care company. You know what I mean? Because in January, the grass ain't growing. February, it's not growing. March, April, it's starting. You know what I mean? I wasn't ready for April mowing. That shit's off the chain. If you ever done it before, April mowing is different. I slid in May with the great ideas, and we started in June and ain't looked back. It wasn't time, right? But what did I do for those 4 months? Express every emotion, cuss, scream, you know what I mean, all of that shit. I stayed clean, right? When I told you I had them keys for 7 years, that might have been the only meeting I went to that week. I kept that commitment, the keys, right? That home group. That shit kept me clean many a fucking week, man. Because I wasn't going to many meetings. Like I said, I was spiritually fucked, man, with a little bit of time clean. So it's not always up here, right? It's going to be this. Buckle up, right? But don't take that motherfucker off. You know what I mean? Like, enjoy the ride. So, now it's to where the business was kind of built so I would have something to leave for the kids. Because I probably wasn't going to if I didn't figure something out. You know what I mean? Like, I had no 401k, none of that stuff, you know what I mean? So, I didn't have insurance. But, now, like, we get to build for their future and start to incorporate them into it and show them what it is and show them what it looks like and show them commitment and show them, like, hard work and, like, show them all the stuff, man, that they was not used to seeing from me. They didn't see from me. They didn't. You know what I mean? The only thing I worked hard at was getting one more. It's the only thing I worked hard at, man. So Tyler, I had sent him. He's the one that I didn't know he was mine until he was 7, or until I saw him, I should say. But I'd sent him a friend request like probably 2 years ago, maybe longer, and I would text every morning, right, until I wouldn't get nothing back. So I give up for a month, and I start texting every morning again. And I call it purgatory. Like when somebody sends you a friend request and you don't accept it, you're like, I don't really know. Like, this dude ain't got a profile picture. You know what I mean? I call it purgatory. Right? Everybody's got a couple hundred people just hanging out in purgatory. So that's where I was. Right? I was on like Tyler Purgatory. And but I was sending these messages, man, and I didn't give up. Right? And I kept doing the next right thing, right? I would get another day clean. I'd get another day clean. I'd get another day clean. This stuff's going to happen on God's time, right? One night he accepts my friend request. And this is like, maybe like 2 months ago. It's not that long ago, right? So like all of this, what I'm getting ready to share, this is fresh, man. This is raw. This is real right now. So we start talking and, you know, I tell him, you know, there's no apologies. This is action. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. Motherfucker, where you been? You know what I mean? So like there is no apology. Thank God I got some experience with the amends process, right? Myself, my sponsor guide me guiding other men. I have some experience with the amends process. I know what this looks like, right? This is a program of action. It's action. That's all I can do. Commitment, right? I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. So he came out and came to work with me, man. And, he got to see it, man, you know, and he's like kind of amazed as I am, because there's mornings when I open the fucking garage door and I look at everything and I remember going to fucking work for other dudes and I'd see all their shit and I'm like, man, how the fuck does this shit happen, man? How is this fucking possible? It's fucking possible, man. I fucking, with you guys, like we did it, you know? And I get to share it with him, man. And little Ed's getting ready to get out of the Army, and like he's going to be coming home, and like, I knew I wasn't going to make it through that, man. I'm funny, but man, goddamn, this shit's real, man. And like I said, it's raw, man. This is like a couple months, man. This is right fucking now. This is today. And they know I'm here. They know what I'm doing. They know what I do. And they are so fucking supportive of it because you guys gave them their fucking dad back. You guys gave my parents their son back. You know, you guys gave my sister a brother back. I'm an uncle. You know, like all this stuff, man. It was so far-fetched and was so far away, and I never thought it was for me, man. I was for sure I was going to do life, or somebody was going to kill my dumb ass, one like McPherson or something. You know what I mean? Like God's will, or like right there, and I'm over there. Like, you know, but we talk about lost dreams awaken and new possibilities arise. Right? The lawn care thing was a lost dreams awaken. New possibilities arise. What's next? Right? I used to go out in the streets and I never knew what was going to happen that day. I never knew what was going to happen that day. I didn't know if I was going to die, because, you know, back to the joint. Like, what's going to happen today, right? I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? But today I wake up with excitement to go see. I didn't wake up with that back then, man. How long have I been going? Oh, I should probably shut up. If you don't think you can do it, you can. Right? If nobody fucking believes in you, I fucking believe in you. There's a whole room right now, people, and up there, and outside walking around, that believe in each other. And that's how we do this. Right? I don't do this. We do. Thanks for my sponsor for coming out. Thanks to the committee for asking me. Like, really, really, really. And I don't know how many Ripley's this is, 16 or 17. But there's no other place I'd rather be on earth right now than here with you guys. Thanks for letting me share.